Good morning, folks. A confluence of cosmic factors and the advice of Dr. Wu Yan, especially his insight into sunspot numbers and earthquakes in recent episodes on Fly on the Wall, is hitting a major breakthrough. As we pull up the JPL to eye the inner solar system, we are focusing on the effects of the inner planets when they line up with the Sun or with Saturn. The notion is that some of these circumstances reduce the expression of sunspots and some enhance it. Mercury is also about to see the Sun conjoin Jupiter. Shift to the southeastern limb, and what do my eyes see? A monster, a leviathan, an army of umbral cores and angry penumbral regions twisting about, and we can't even see the largest sunspot in the grouping yet. This is going to be one of the greatest sunspots of this entire solar cycle, and I can't wait to pull out my solar scope for these big dogs. But happiness aside, remember I mentioned earthquakes as well. The largest 48-hour sunspot rise of this MAC should be realized tomorrow or the next day, and we kicked off with a 5-pointer in New Mexico that rang as high as 5.6. That's very odd. Across the Pacific, Japan took a not so unusual but still above average 6-pointer that struck 6.9 on one reader. And then the big one, a 7 magnitude rumble near Antarctica that rang as high as 7.4. If you haven't been listening to our Fly on the Wall discussions, you may want to start. But it gets better. Another 2 of those very dense but very slow interplanetary shockwaves struck Earth again in succession just before the earthquakes got underway. So, veterans of the channel, you know where we're going next. The longer-standing Uyen factors tie to tropical storms, and this morning, we indeed have a ramp in the system south of Mexico. It shouldn't be much of an issue in and of itself. However, I can't say that about the system up in Canada right now. This low is very strong, pulling heat and moisture all the way from the Gulf of Mexico. It's dropping the major weather across a decent swath of the Midwest. West Coast, you've got this drive to contend with, not like you folks can't handle a little rain. Moving to Europe, we easily notice the North Atlantic low, but I would also eye that sneaky bugger in the Mediterranean. Pop-up storms and big lightning is the product there, spreading north into the continent further from the water. I'm not sure how much this really changes from yesterday. Primary convergence to the east, check your local forecasts on that one, while the high pressure regulates nicely to the west. Most powerful low on the planet is right here, ready to swing east. Number 2, by the way, is right above that 7-pointer. Meanwhile, a low sits on the east coast here, set to draw convergence back when it departs. Things happen fast, don't they? Tropical storms, earthquake triggers via Dr. Wu Yan, and a solar warning for planet Earth. Current conditions and shots of our star to close. Eyes open. No fear. It's 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's the news. Be safe, everyone.